Assalamu alaikum everybody. It's a beautiful day. I didn't get to finish all those videos yesterday. I got very tired and I had some translation to do for work. Who did that? But inshallah I intend on finishing them today. Hopefully there's maybe 4 more to go. So on February 6th, 2010 I had come back. And by the way, it is beautiful. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's 25 degrees here. Sorry for all of you who are freezing in Michigan and other places around the world. And the sun is out and the Mediterranean Sea is right in front of me and it looks very sweet. It's very soothing and calming. But it won't be this way for a long time because when the tourists come in a few months for the summer, I hear it changes. But won't be here for that. But I'll talk about that in another video. Luxor and Aswan. So we went as a group, as a part of my program, for a week. I told you that I'd come back from Ma'rad al-Kitab, which is the book exposition or exhibition, and then we got on a microbus. We took it from Alexandria to Cairo. We took the overnight train, all the way down to Luxor, and that took I don't know how many hours, 8 hours or something. But we slept there, and the beds were comfortable. I mean, the room looks like a shoebox. If you've been to Owen Hall at MSU and you've seen the graduate dormitories, I'm sorry if you live there right now, but it kind of looks like that. It's tiny, except instead of one person, it's 2 people, so one on top, one on the bottom. The food there was, so-so. And for breakfast, it was bread. But, whatever. You're going to see something that's historic, and you're with your friends and classmates, so it was a good time. But really, I mean, the beds were comfortable. I was surprised. When we got there, we went from Luxor to Edfu. From Luxor, we rode a cruise ship. It was huge. It was like 3 floors at least. Just huge. I mean, just swimming pool. Not a very big one, but still a swimming pool. And I don't know, they say 5 stars, but one of my friends told me that one of his friends was on a 5-star cruise in the Nile, and then they saw another ship pass by that said 7 stars. So I mean, it's all relative, but it was sweet. A few things that I wrote down. It was interesting how you get haggled a lot by the salespeople. I mean, understandably so, because a lot of them, their lives depend on the money that they make from the tourists. But it was interesting how I was taught something by my professor, and you have to say shukran, in a very firm way of thank you. I was saying Allah khalik, Rabbina khalik, which means may God preserve you. It's a very nice way of saying no thank you. But when you say shukran like that, they just stop. They're like, this guy is Egyptian or this guy is Arabic, let's stop bothering him right now. And it worked. And halfway through the trip, I changed my composure and I walked a little bit more by myself. Nobody talked to me. It was very interesting. And it was cool. Went to the Valley of the Kings and a bunch of tombs, and more tombs. To tell you the truth, it was interesting. I'm not too interested in ancient Egyptian history, but interesting. But they all look the same to me. You just walk in and they have the same design, and they go in and there's the tomb, there's the tomb, there's the tomb. That was kind of boring for me. But we saw the Aswan High Dam, and we saw the floods of the Nubian people. You had 60 tombs there and a bunch of different villages, and basically Gamal Abdel Nasser was like, hey, we got an issue with the Nile, keeps flooding and stuff, and it's irregular, and the pharaohs were trying to solve this problem. I'm going to build the Aswan High Dam. And it took many years to build, but basically you had the Lake Nasser, because at the south end of Egypt, right over Sudan, they built it, and then you just had all this water that just started to increase and increase until you had a huge lake, and I think it's the largest man-made or human-made lake in the world. This Lake Nasser, named after Gamal Abdel Nasser, the 2nd president of Egypt. The 2nd out of 4, mind you, since their independence from Britain. On the cruise ship, I felt very fat. I say that because there wasn't a lot of moving. What my roommate, I love, great guy, Tom Wright, give him a shout out. throughout the trip. You know, he was like, I'm going to the tombs to visit and not sleeping in just so I can walk and get some exercise. Because you just feel so fat. I mean, you had 3 meals a day. They were huge. It was all you can eat buffet. It was some of the best food I've tasted in my life. Seriously, it was delicious. But it's not what I'm used to here. Uh, Imam Mukhtar Mughrawi, originally from Algeria, actually, even though the whole Algeria, you know, Egypt thing, but just, I think he's from Algeria. Anyways, awesome guy, awesome sheikh. He says that the scholars say that the more you eat, the heavier your soul becomes in trying to elevate itself and reach God. And I agree with that. That the more you eat, really, it's harder to make a connection with God. And so this whole idea of gluttony and eating a lot, it's not healthy. But I did do that, and I didn't move a lot, and so I felt very fat. I would go to meals not hungry and still eat, and that's terrible. That's a terrible thing. However, my mind was at work because I did my first official simultaneous translation, or it's called interpretation, tarjama fawriya in Arabic. Fawri meaning immediate, or it hurts your head a lot. But I was doing it from Egyptian Colloquial Arabic to English, and so we had a person from our big program come and visit. I wasn't paid or anything, but it was just for me to get better and practice. So when we go on these tours, I would hear the Egyptian, and it was very hard. You know, when you have a microphone, it's just in one ear, it's a lot easier. But when you're in an open place, or you're in some tombs and there's a lot of people talking at once, you know, you have a lot of different tour guides, it's hard. And so I would just hear, and I would just be translating at the same time. And he would just focus on my English. I did it in the bus. I did it for at least 30 minutes to an hour a day. It hurt my head. You can ask me what I translated afterward, and I can't remember because you have to put all your focus into it and just listen in on the language and just translate. So it's a challenge, and I talked to some people who do it, and they say that they typically do it once a week or twice a week, not a lot. What was particularly hard about the translation is using the architectural terms that are specific to ancient Egypt, terms I hadn't known in English or Arabic, or when he would talk about the Egyptian gods in the hieroglyphic or Coptic language, and you just stop and then you're trying to, because you're always a few seconds behind the guy who's talking. So, and the first tour guide, who was for the first 6 days, not the last one, we had a different one, he would talk very quickly. I mean, I heard that some of the people even couldn't keep up with understanding. So imagine trying to translate all of that at the same time. And so you're a few seconds behind, and then he mentions some god in a different language that you're not even. It's not Arabic. It's not English. You've never studied ancient Egyptian history. You don't know what it is, and you just try to translate quickly. So it was tough. But I heard that if you translate about 80% at least, then that's a success. Even in the UN, those are the standards. And alhamdulillah, I can confidently say that I had translated more than 80%, maybe closer to 85 or 90 at least. I mean, it would fluctuate depending on the issue. But yeah, it was cool. The coolest thing is when you see all these tour guides from different places speaking different languages. And I talked to one Chinese, well, she's an Egyptian lady who learned Chinese. I was like, how long have you been studying Chinese for? I mean, it's one reason to know a language or understand it, but imagine giving a tour in the language about ancient Egypt. I mean, you got to be really good at the language. And she was telling me she's been studying for like 20 years. I heard another Egyptian guy speaking Chinese, and one who was just speaking Chinese, and after the tour he was talking to people. So yeah, I mean, I heard Italian and Spanish and French and German, and it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And we had, you know, some Swiss people on our cruise ship, and the guy told me they spoke German, and I couldn't understand anything because Swiss German is very hard. Even though I'm a beginner in German, you know, still I couldn't understand maybe one word. Abu Simbel, which is like 35 kilometers north of Sudan, was the best place, and Nefertiti Nefereti, his wife, I think. I mean, their tombs were just the best. That made it all worthwhile. And if you're gonna go to those. We also went to Hatshepsut temple. She's the only temple of a queen, I think, or maybe I don't know. But she was very influential during the time as a female. And we went to different places as well. The temple of Luxor. Not sure, but it was interesting. It was fun, and I'll post up the pictures soon, inshallah.